Hello students. I am going to go over week 2's graphing using Excel, and I have pulled up on the screen it says lab 1, but it really is your first lab, which is in week 2, graphing. I just want to, so when you open up your document, you're really going to look at page 3. The very beginning of this, and so it looks like this, and it's a little bit of an explanation, but the real data sets start on page 3. And so you'll see you have graphs 1, 2, there's no graph yet, but these are the data sets for the graphs. So the first graph, you'd want to graph y versus x. Whatever they say that's in front of the verses is the one that's vertical. So that's your vertical axis, and then your data that's called x, it would be on your horizontal or x-axis. So my assignment says you're either going to pick the odds. So you're going to do graphs 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, or you're going to pick all the odd data graphs, and you're going to graph data 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So obviously graph 1 and 2 are y versus x, so it might be a little confusing. If you look at graph 3, it says graph voltage versus current. We're going to ignore the linear paper. We're doing everything in Excel. So that means we're graphing voltage. So voltage is going to be in the vertical axis, the y-axis, and current is going to be in the x-axis. Okay? If you were going to graph 4, it says graph the speed versus distance. That means speed is going to be in your y-axis because it's the first thing they say, and distance is going to be in the x-axis because that's after versus. Okay, that's just an explanation of how you're going to graph using these data from your handout. Okay, now I'm going to go to use Excel. So hold on a second. So this is a typical Excel. Hopefully you can see some of this. So the first thing I want you to do when you open up an Excel is at the very top or the beginning, you want to make sure you print your name, Physics 105, and the lab. Lab 1, Excel lab, whatever you want to do. Then from the lab handout, you are going to be, if you choose graph 1, this would be the data set for graph 1. And then you're going to make a graph. This isn't right now the data set. Hold on, I'll give you one. So this is the actual data in somebody else's lab. So this is lab 1 Excel. This is graph 1. So again, you're going to be typing in the data, and I'm going to show you how to box it in. And then you're going to come up with a graph. And this one is y versus x. So the y is in the vertical axis data, and the x data is in the horizontal or the x-axis. I want to have a chart title. I want you to have axes labels, etc. So you can see the next one they did was graph 3, and then they did voltage versus current. You're going to continue to do this so you have 5 data sets and 5 graphs. That's the lab assignment. Okay, so now I want to just go over Excel itself. So in here I have a data set. I have columns A and columns B. Well, how do I do that? So literally I'm just typing in. So what I normally do is I hold down the cursor, I highlight the cell, and then let's say I need this many data sets. I want to put my lines and boxes and get everything really going well. So you go up to here under font, above font, there's looks like a little window. If it's not there yet, it's called borders. You want to go to all borders and click on that. When you do that, now you can see your whole data set is boxed in. And then all you have to do is type in your stuff. So if I was going to do I guess a graph, I'm just going to do this graph. So you either going to be, you click on a cell and you type it in. So this would be A. I want to go over here and name this B. So you just click on the cell and type in B. Another thing you can do is just copy and paste if you already have stuff. So I'm just going to click on the first cell, hold down my finger, and highlight all of my data and undo it. And then I'm going to right click and all of my things come up. I'm going to hit copy. Then I'm going to go down to the new one that I want to copy it into and just highlight all of them. Let go of my left side of my mouse. Then I right click and I hit paste and I want numbers. I'm going to show it to you again. I'm going to copy these ones. So I'm going to click the first cell. Then on the left hand side of my mouse, I hold it down. Oh, I want this one. Hold on. I'm going to click on this one, hold it down, right click, hit copy, and then hold down on my left of the mouse, right click the mouse, and hit paste, and I'm hitting the numbers. So that's my two data sets. I'm going to clear this. Okay, so how do I make a chart? There's all kinds of charts. On the home, you can't even see the charts. So you want to click Insert. Insert tells you all the things that you can insert. You're going to go to the line that says Charts right here. And these are all the different kinds of charts. But in physics, we always like to compare things, one versus the other. So we want to go to what they call, this one that has all the dots in it. It's called scatter chart. XY, some people call it the bubble, but that's an old version. So you're going to click on that. It has a little arrow, and then it can tell you what kind. You want it with just the just the dots. I want dots with straight lines. And so now here's my chart. I'm going to move it back up. So once I'm in the chart mode, it's blank. You got to right click on the chart, and then it says select data. Now your data box comes up. You click over here, add. Your series name is basically the title of your chart. So I'm going to write graph 1, and this is capital A versus B. Now yours is probably going to be X versus Y or whatever. Now notice the next box says series X values. So this is the data set for the horizontal or the x-axis. I know it goes the opposite of the versus part. So then I'm going to move this box over. You go over to your data for your X. If this is A versus B, then my X values are my B values. So I click over to the box, I hold down my cursor, and I highlight all the data from B column, and I let go. And then you can see, you can't see your data yet on the graph, but you can tell if you did it right, because if you look at these, look at the dollar signs. This is $20 to $C, $20. Well, that means the location. We're in column C, and we're in line 20. And it goes all the way to column C, line 26. That's how you know you did your data right. Now you're going to click on the Y values. You have to back space that that equals 1 thing out of there. And again, my y values in this graph are my A data. So I go over to column A, don't highlight the A part, just the data. So I'm going to hold down my cursor on 2 and highlight and then let go when I get to 30. And then I'm going to hit OK. And then I hit OK one more time. And then here's my graph. Now, I said I wanted to give you titles, and I want the axes to have titles. Right now, they don't have titles. Sorry, I'm trying to move this so you can see it in the columns. So to add the titles, you can see you can change colors, you can do filters on here. All you want to do is click on the plus. Now, I do want axes. You're going to click yes to axes, to title axes, to chart title, grid lines, and then we want to do trend lines. And then it says either linear, exponential. We usually want linear because then you're going to get the slope. Okay, so now that you have your axes, now you click on your axes title. That axes title is A. So I'm just going to click on, I'm going to double click on the axes title, and then I'm going to hit A. Enter. And then I'm going to go to the horizontal, which is my data set B. So then now I have a graph. I have my data set, and I usually write, sorry, I had it above there, graph 1. So I have my title, graph 1, the data all boxed in, and then I have my XY scatter graph. I have the title, A versus B, which means my data set that's vertical is A, and my data set horizontal is B, or the x-axis. And where is my, I gotta click on the chart again. What happened to my, I do have a trend line. I want it to be linear. And that's a little lesson on Excel. I don't know if I went too fast, but I've given you other handouts. There's other tutorials in there. But that's the main thing that you're going to really need to know to put all your data. There are several other labs that you have to graph things for and find slopes, which is trend line, linear trend line. The y equals mx plus b. The m is the slope. And I guess, you know, hopefully you'll be able to do this. If you haven't had any experience in Excel, then please email me and let me know so that we make sure that you get enough time in to be able to do them.